Okay, so mihat z dżinżęk, mihat stranicara. Good morning, students.
Good morning, teacher.
Have a seat. So today we have another leadership class, and the question is, are the leaders made or born? Can you please write it on the board? So you have 5 seconds to give me an answer. Are the leaders born or are they made?
I think they're born because from the beginning, you know, if you want to be taught or if you want to do the teaching. So when you're from a young age, you know what you want to do. So I think they're born knowing what people want to do and knowing that they want to guide people to better themselves.
Interesting. So Lina says they're born to be leaders. Anybody else? Born or made? Yes, Hike.
Adding to what Lina said, I think it's people are born, not born leaders, they're made leaders, because there's always someone who's come first as a leader, and they always have to teach someone to take their place as a leader.
So Hike says they're made, and maybe we should keep it closer. So,
I think they're born because it can be like a personality trait. Some people just like to lead, and others just like to be in the background and follow others.
So you're saying that they're born to
Yeah.
be leaders. Who else, Miss Ariana?
Kind of piggybacking off of what Hike said, although there's stigma around both leaders being made and born, I think leadership can be a quality you're born with, but your environment enhances that quality you're born with. Therefore, leaders are made because, for example, Miss Nina is our leader, right? And through Miss Nina's leadership, we become leaders ourselves. And I think who you surround yourself with and where you are in your life defines what type of leader you become, and defines who you are as a leader.
So you can be made to be a leader.
Yes.
So if we're inferring that leaders are born, then we're excluding the fact that we can be made to be leaders. It's not something that you can learn. So now you guys have to really defend your positions and tell me why they're born to be leaders and there's no way around it, and why they're made to be leaders and they're not born to be leaders. Give me examples and defend your positions.
I personally believe that a person can be transformed inside out if they really choose to. Therefore, rebirth is possible with people who are not born leaders but become leaders, again, through environment and learned behavior. For instance, if we have a student who's weaker at heart at dancing, the more that student surrounds himself with the stronger girls, the stronger that person will become. Therefore, yes, as much as people can have that leadership quality they're born with, that quality will be of no use unless you work towards it. Same as talent. Skill and talent work hand in hand, because talent can't be enhanced without hard work. So you can be born a leader, but you're not going to be a good leader unless you become a better leader.
So would you then say that talent is a leadership skill, or it is you can be talented but not be a leader?
No, you can absolutely be talented but lack leadership, I believe.
Any other opinions about talent connecting to leadership? Miss Tina has something to say.
To piggyback off of what Ariana said, I actually have this, phrase that I like to always follow, I live by. It's hard work beats talent when talent isn't working hard. So I think that talent is not what defines a leader, but it's the hard work that goes into learning and how to be a leader.
So basically what we're saying now is that you can have talent, but without talent, your hard work will lead you to be successful and to gain the talent that you don't have. So if we were to translate, hard work can make you leaders and you're not born to be a leader, would that be possible? Like you work hard on leading and therefore you become a leader. What do you guys think?
You're asking if it's possible?
Yes, it's possible. What would you say are leadership qualities that people are born with? You have younger siblings. How do you see young children being leaders? Yes, Miss Tina.
There's obviously children who are naturally extroverted or introverted. Usually, not all the times, but extroverted children make better leaders at a younger age. But like we said, if they grow up in an environment that nurtures them and teaches them how to be a leader, they can also become extroverted as well.
So do you guys think that extrovertness is a big part of being a leader and it's important, or you can be a quiet leader? Anybody? Quiet leadership? Anyone? Opinions on that? Miss Tina has opinion.
No, you can definitely be a quiet leader, but as a child, if you're super shy and quiet, it's harder to lead as a child. If you growing up, you can still be a quiet leader. You don't have to be loud and whatnot. But as a child, I think that's one of the qualities that from a young age you can tell, like, oh, this child is naturally extroverted. They might make a better leader. But that's not to say that a child who's introverted will never make a leader. That's not what I'm saying.
Correct. Ariana.
I think psychologically piggybacking off of what Tina said, in psychology I've learned that children have temperaments, and the temperament that you kind of stick with by the age of 6 or a little up above tends to stick with you for the rest of your life. So I think what she meant is, although introverted leaders can exist, your adolescence, your childhood defines who you are as a person in the future. Therefore, if you do have more volume and more authority as a child, you are bound to become a stronger, more loud leader in the future.
I think we reached a point where we're saying extrovertness, or which I think what you guys are saying is expressing yourselves means that you're leading. But also let's agree that there's different ways of expressing ourselves. It's not just by words or stating an opinion or being loud, especially when you're older, as Ms. Tina says. So now give me examples where you're leading, or you thought that you're leading and you're leading quietly. Any examples from your lives?
An example of leadership I've witnessed in my life actually took place at dance. And when I've seen a leader lead without volume or her voice is when one of the older, stronger girls steps away from the gossip and away from people speaking and does her job accordingly to what the instructor is saying, and the other girls quietly follow behind. I think that's an example of quiet leadership, because also doing the right thing with integrity, meaning not worrying about what people are saying or thinking, or not worrying about being rewarded for your obedience, is a quality of a strong leader, someone who can lead without speaking, and someone who can kind of divert the crowd into doing the right thing without literally telling them. So, yeah.
Oh, you can talk about panic and leadership, for example.
So there was a time in Europe when we were performing, we needed light, and Ani wanted to bring her phone. And during the dance, we had to let it on the stage because we could not put it anywhere else. And after the show, we found out someone had taken her phone, and Ani stepped up as a leader because she kept her cool and she didn't tell anyone, she didn't stress about it. And that's what it takes to be a good leader, you know?
Another example of quiet leadership, again, occurred in Europe. It was when, unfortunately, Sophia hurt her knee, and in the middle of intermission is when we found out. So in second act, a lot of us girls had to adjust our spots or take her spot. And none of us panicked, none of us complained. We did what we had to do, and that was a great example of quiet leadership.
Lisa has one. Let's record her.
Another example coming from my experience, for one of the shows in Prague, I had a costume malfunction for Sound of Your Name, and I was, let's say, really late. I couldn't get my pants on in time, but I'm not gonna lie, I did panic. I'm a human, but after a moment, I collected myself and I went along with the rest of the show, and I tried not to show it. So I think that's another example of leadership.
Okay, so now you guys are telling me that leaders are people who have composure, they don't panic, they're problem solvers. So what made you learn that skill of not panicking? Anybody? Miss Tina has an answer.
So obviously Miss Petrossian has instilled in us that it doesn't matter what can happen during a show, we do not panic, because that can bring the morale of the team down. So even if something bad happens on stage, if you walk out, you do not complain, you pretend like everything happened just fine, and you go on until the show is over, so that the group morale does not go down and that the show goes well.
Yes, so which brings us back to our original questions. Are the leaders made or born? And it is my strongest opinion that leaders can be made. That's why we're doing these leadership classes, and that's why I would want a lot of teenagers and young adults to watch it. It is something that everybody can learn how to do, and sometimes it's not just being outspoken and making statements and being loud. Sometimes it's retracting, keeping composure, not panicking. Those are the skills that are even harder to learn, because those are the skills when you have to hold yourself back. And it seems like we all have those skills at this point. I have a prime example of, again, not panicking. There was a split second where Mr. Gagic's tie was not tied. He was going to come out backstage and run back in. And I completely, in my worry that his tie is not tied, could not remember how to tie a tie. And Haik was also in and out of dance. This is on Paris's stage. And I said, Haik, do you know how to tie a tie? And he just held it, did it in 30 seconds, and gave it to me and ran back on stage. And it was done like just by understanding, just by like looking at each other. And that's even more powerful. And I know that all of you are equipped by it. So this is something, yes, maybe we're born to be leaders. Maybe it's in our DNA to be leaders. But if we don't study it, I don't think we can get far with it. True or false? Do you guys agree? So this is something we have to study, we have to do, we have to put ourselves into situations like this to become greater and better at leadership. So on the board we have, they are born to be leaders, they're made to be leaders. Why? Surrounding yourself with leaders, trying to be a leader. Young leaders are extroverted. As we grow up, we learn that there is quiet leadership. The skills of not panicking and retracting are powerful skills for a leader to have. And I love you, and I wish you an amazing weekend. Stand up. Thank you. Thank you, students.
Thank you, teacher.
The class is officially over.